Boker Tov, we are continuing in Sefer Yonah Perek Aleph, Pasuk Yud Aleph. So we're at the part in the story where the lots fall on Yonah, and they say, "Who are you? Where are you from?" And he says, "I am an Ivri, I'm a Jew. I serve Hashem, Elokei Hashemayim, and Asher Asat Hayam. He made the Yam." And the people had a great fear, and they said, "What's happening?" And he told them that he's running away from Nineveh, from not doing the shlichut that Hashem sent him. Vayomeru elav. Now they tell Yonah, "Ma na'aseh lach?" So what should we do with you? V'yishtok hayam me'alenu. And what should we do in order to get the waters to subside? Ki hayam holech v'soer, because the water is getting worse and worse. Holech v'soer, it's getting worse and worse. It wasn't just a constant, bad level. It was getting worse and worse as time was passing by. So he said, "What are we going to do?" So the Malbim over here explains that they told him, "Why don't you do teshuvah and go back to Nineveh? Do your shlichut." And he said, maybe then the takana. You don't have to, they didn't know the next pasuk is, he tells them, "Throw me off." But until that point, do teshuvah. Go to Nineveh. According to the Malbim, they told him this. And they said, and he was saying, "Okay, well maybe, or we'll take you to Israel. Let's try turning back to Israel." So Yonah tells them, "Vayomer alehem, Sa'uni, lift me," and he tells them back, "Lift me up, va'tiluni alayam, and throw me into the water. V'yishtok hayam me'alechem, you'll see the water will be quiet from you. Ki yodea ani, because I know," says Yonah. Ki besheli, because it's because of me. Hasa'ar hagadol hazeh alechem. All this craziness in the water is because of me. So Yonah, it seems like he's so convinced. Again, what's his reasoning of not going to Nineveh? Because he doesn't want, as the Mefarshim explained, Yonah was a tzaddik. He didn't want that the people of Nineveh who were goyim are going to do teshuvah very quickly. He knew their temperament. He knew their type. That if he tells them, "Guys, do teshuvah," they're going to do teshuvah quickly. That's actually eventually what happened. And what's going to happen is he didn't want that Hashem's going to get mad at Bnei Israel. Say, "Look, the goyim, they did the teshuvah quickly, and you guys are stubborn-necked." So Yonah didn't want that on his conscience. He didn't want that. So he was willing to run away, willing to even jump into the water, not to have a kiturug, not to have a prosecuting, angels and a prosecution against Bnei Israel. So he tells them, "Throw me off." Unbelievable. We don't know. It says that everyone called out to their gods. There was non-Jews there. Were there any Jews there? I'm not sure. But definitely they all called out to their gods. Right? And it seems like they weren't. Okay, so he tells them, throw me into the waters. And the Sforno says, and also the Malbim, that they told him, "Do teshuvah," and he said, "No, throw me into the water." And he told him, "Okay, let's try going back to Israel." And he says, "You guys aren't going to make it back to Israel. This is all because of me. And therefore, the only option is to throw me into the waters." And the third pasuk for today, "Vayachteru ha'anashim." Now, vayachteru usually means, I think in modern Hebrew as well, is to dig, right? So, lachtor. So, vayachteru ha'anashim here it means, what? Oh, okay, good. Because usually it means, in Lashon HaKodesh, it means to dig. But it also means rowing, because when you row, it's like you're digging, right? It's like you're digging in earth, but it's the same type of action. So, vayachteru ha'anashim, they were really rowing hard, le'ashiv el hayabasha, to go back to the dry land. V'lo yacholu. They didn't want to just throw Yonah. They were also like righteous. They didn't say, "Okay, you know what, let's just throw him off right away." They tried going back to this dry land, and they weren't able to. Ki hayam holech v'soer alehem. The waters were getting worse and worse and worse. And the Malbim over here says that since Yonah didn't take their advice, that do teshuvah and let's just go to Nineveh. Let's make a decision to go to Nineveh. Come on, Yonah. He didn't want to do it, so things were getting worse and worse and worse. The Gaon of Vilna over here explains these psukim as far as our neshama as follows. He says that when they told him, how we're going to get rid of this crazy turbulent storm. So to a person has to ask himself, what's the takana for me? How could I fix myself? There's a storm in life as far as what to do, how to act. How do I fix myself? Which path do I go on? Because the Yetzer Hara, as the Gemara says, is always mitgaber, because we said that the storm gets stronger and stronger. The Yetzer Hara in a person's life could get stronger and stronger to push him down and down so that he does, no mitzvot. That's his objective. And also, for a person that tries to do mitzvot, the Yetzer Hara finds new ways to try to attack. So it's difficult. And the Gaon of Vilna explains that when Yonah says, throw me off the boat, remember, according to the Gaon of Vilna, Yonah is the neshama. The boat is the body. The only way that, if you want to, get rid of all the tzarot, when the neshama leaves the body. But until that point, we're in the battle. Until that point, we're in the battle. And that's Pasuk, and that's the next Pasuk where he explains, B'sheli hasa'ara gadol hazeh, says Yonah. Yonah is the neshama again. It's because of me, meaning, im enani li mili. Don't blame things on why things are happening. It's on you. Are you sinning or are you being righteous? It's all on you. And the way that the storm is going to subside, it's all on you. And that's what he learns from this pasuk. The Yonah says it's because of me. The person has to take the blame. Don't take the easy way out and just doing whatever you want, or chas v'shalom, causing yourself or the soul to leave your body. It's bishili. It's because of me, and therefore we got to fix what we got to do. And also when they tried the last pasuk, they tried going back to the land and they weren't able to. It says unfortunately sometimes there is a point of no return. We had the Chumash Shir last night. We spoke about this with Teshuvah. Paro got to that point. Unfortunately, the first 5 makot that were on Mitzrayim, Paro, they told Paro, come on, get the Jews out of Egypt. And he didn't listen. And in the last 5, he says, Hashem hardened his heart. Didn't give him any freedom of choice anymore. He got to a point of no return. So too, the Gaon of Vilna says on this pasuk, they tried going back to land. No, that's it. It was a point of no return. The Gzar Din was, Yonah didn't want to do teshuvah at that point. The only option was for him to be thrown overboard. So we hope not to get to these type of levels. We want to, we don't know in Shamayim where those levels are. We mentioned yesterday, sometimes people pass away as a rasha, and they never did teshuvah before they passed, and maybe it's unfortunately in their lifetime they got to that point of no return. I mean, we're here in shul, we're connecting, and we don't know where that point is. We always say there's teshuvah, there's teshuvah, there's teshuvah. Sometimes we have to try to do it, and not get to that point. So this is some great lessons the Gaon of Vilna points out from a person's neshama, a person's lifetime through the story of Yonah, which I find is really unbelievable. And Bezrat Hashem will connect to these days of teshuvah and be chazer b'teshuvah shelema lefanecha in front of Hashem to bring the Mashiach tzidkenu b'meira v'yameinu. Amen. Rabbi Yochanan HaMakash Omer, Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu lezakot et Yisraficha chibar l'mitaron, so shneimar Adonai hafetz man tzidko yagdil Torah ve'yadir.